अपना हाथ मिट्टी में रखो, अपने आप रास्ता दिख जाएगा. Keep your hands in clay, and it will show you the way. I can never forget these words my first pottery teacher told me, a traditional potter. When I first touched clay, I instantly fell in love. And the sketches I was drawing came alive, and I could touch and feel them, mold and carve them. And suddenly, art had a new language. We'd bring clay from the pond, mix dung and sand in it, and stack the kiln with our creations and fire it the traditional way by just sensing the warmth and color of the fire. My real education began here. All the subjects I learned in school, history, geography, physics, chemistry, it all came alive in making clay, glazes, and understanding fire. And a little voice inside me said, I can do this for the rest of my life. I grew up in the 80s, dreamy, watching the sunlight pierce through the trees and imagining music in the fluttering wind. I'd make mud bowls with my sister and we'd throw them into a bonfire and they'd come out half broken, half baked. And this is how I imagine a caveman first must have found pottery. I always wanted to be an artist, but I was expected to study business, do an MBA. So to escape that and find the next best creative option, I went through a degree in mass media, only to realize that the media sells you half the truth. Now, how do I follow what my heart really desired? Luckily, I found a program in art. It was self-guided. And here's where I found clay. In India, a potter is born into a Prajapati's family, which is the potter's community. And they pass their skills from generation to generation. Since I was not born into one, I would be asked, so, you studied so much and now you want to work with mud? How are you going to survive? Are you going to sell pots on the street? Well, I had to find the answers to this. And back in Mumbai, where I live, I'd visit the traditional potters community to buy clay and to observe their techniques. So I found that the younger generation were moving to office jobs. And this made me think that this age-old tradition and the path that I was trying to pursue, is that dying? I remember when we were little, tea came in a handmade clay glass called a kulhad by street shops, no? Or possibly travels in the train on the platform. And after drinking, we would throw it into a pile of broken kulhards. This age-old tradition has been replaced by plastic and one-time use paper cups, not to say how environmentally hazardous it is. And it has largely shrunk the livelihoods of thousands of potters who survived out of this throughout the country. So is this the perception of clay in our country or our society? An easily breakable commodity of low value? What are we supposed to do with this? As a media student, my skills came into handy here. And nothing goes for waste, I realized. So I thought, shall we begin by creating awareness, organize events, and to increase some scope for the people working in clay? That included me. So I decided to travel across the country in training further as a ceramic artist and learning from the tradition and documenting the craft of pottery in India. So from Pondicherry, where I trained, to Northeast India, I met potters along the banks of the Brahmaputra, to strong women potter communities in Meghalaya, and potters by the road in Madhya Pradesh, onto vocational trainings in Nagaland and teaching an entire school clay in Assam. I learned two main things from these journeys. One is that there is a huge gap between the urban and rural art and craft markets, and what are we doing to bridge this? Two, that tradition evolves with necessity. And the traditional potter will evolve his skills to adapt and survive no matter what. These life changing journeys gave me the courage to go on and find my own path. One day, during a chat with an artist friend, she spoke of a local potter's market in China. And we both thought, why don't we do this here in the city? So here we were, going to sell pots on the street. And we invited local ceramic artists to bring out their handmade creations and set up in a parking lot at the Kalagoda Arts Festival in Mumbai. This would mean that we meet our audiences directly and educate them about how we make our clay to our processes and fire our work. We also invited traditional craftsmen to demonstrate their techniques and sell their work. And I remember huge crowds flocked around as one of the years, Pallaswamy, a potter from Tamil Nadu, built an 8-foot clay horse, all by hand over 9 days of the market. And traditional potter, Abbas Bhai from Mumbai, made a 150 kg clay pot, absolutely effortlessly. The videos we took turned viral, bringing them invitations from abroad and tons of orders. How can we not be inspired by these absolutely amazing age-old traditions? The Studio Potters Market started a decade ago as an experiment and is now a nationwide artist-led movement in 13 cities and growing. I believe that with the spirit of giving, when we come together, we can build a community, we can bridge these gaps, and create a platform for you, future generation, to see it as a possible profession. And yet, it's not easy to survive as an artist. In spite of consistent teaching and exhibiting, I keep questioning myself over again. What is my role as an artist? And the answers do evolve over time. It's a lot of churning. Ceramic artists or potters develop a great deal of resilience and strength with the constant trials and errors in the process. One moment, a pot that you've made perfectly can come out of the kiln and just fall and break. And all you can do is just start all over again. And yet, ceramics survives the passage of time over centuries and centuries. One day, a young boy with a learning disability came to my studio. And it was very hard for him to focus on whatever he was doing. And he kept interrupting me while I was teaching other students. So his favorite interruption line would be, "Tell me, ma'am, how was your day?" It was so hard for me to not scold him at that moment. And as a teacher, one does develop some patience over time. And then I thought maybe he needs to talk. So I sat him down before class and spoke to him for 30 to 40 minutes. We spoke about school, what we ate, our cats. And then I gently nudge him and say, "Hey, what are you going to make today?" This relationship we developed was more than just clay. We were both finding a way to learn together. And I gave him the freedom to do and how much he wants to do in class. And gradually, he has developed the patience and focus to absorb the tiny milestones that we've set together. He can now focus up to 4 hours and is my younger studio assistant. The informal studio atmosphere made him feel relaxed and accepted and respected by all the other students of different ages. Working with clay helped him calm down recognize and express his true feelings. And he also thinks about pottery as one of his future career options now. In this young boy, I could see myself in the struggles I had as a vulnerable teenager, eager to be accepted. Even if we can touch the lives of a few through art and craft, isn't it worth the challenge? This is the power of art. Did you know that clay's composition is similar to our bodies? It holds minerals such as calcium, magnesium, iron, and so on. And clay is formed over millions of years of the Earth's weathering. It holds the vibration and information of the Earth's evolution. And when you have this material in your hands, there is information and signals that go through your nerves to your brain, calming your chattering mind and balancing the right and left brain, which is your experiential and analytical brain. In this moment, bringing a healing and creativity to rise. All these experiences reflect in my sculptural artwork. In the journeys I've taken to temples and absorbing the architecture of the land, to absorbing patterns in nature, and to coming to a space of silence, in finding an inner voice and surrendering myself to the process. If there's been a sense of joy, it shows. And if there's been a sense of pain, it comes through. If there's been a catharsis while making the artwork, it also gets transferred. When you finish the artwork, there is a sense of transfer of your energies into the artwork, bringing it to life. So allow yourself to be molded and guided by the process. Be attached to being honest with yourself. Be detached to rejections and what the world expects of you. Your outer identity is constantly changing, and your true expression is that of a power within you. When this is shared, it touches the hearts of people. Art, an idea, an action, or just a moment coming from this space can stir our souls. Thank you.